Hey guys, welcome back to Four Eyes, the podcast series that gives you a clear view into the optometry world across Canada and the US.
We are your hosts. I'm Dr. Amrit Bilku.
I'm Dr. Deepan Kar.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ravinder Randhawa.
And I'm Dr. Alex Kuhn.
Today, we are really excited to share our interview with Dr. Jasdeep Singh Soni, otherwise known as Optoturban, on his Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube channel, and podcast platform. Jasdeep recently graduated from the Arizona College of Optometry this year as a COVID new grad, so we're inviting him onto the podcast to share his personal experiences as a new grad optometrist working during the pandemic and how he's adjusting to the new grad life. We also dive a little bit deeper into his social media presence as Optoturban and what we can expect from his social media content as he transitions from a student to working optometrist. So we really hope you guys learned something from this episode and enjoyed the conversation with us. Let us know in the reviews what you think of our episodes and give us any feedback. We love to hear back from you guys. So yeah, give us a rating and a review. We hope you enjoy the interview. Okay, so Jasdeep, for all of our listeners who may not know who you are, would you mind please giving us a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. First of all, I love the work you ladies are doing, and it's an honor to be here. So I'm born and raised in Southern California. I went to the Arizona College of Optometry and just graduated there in May. Did some of my rotations in Tennessee at a private practice at Cool Springs Eye Care, another private practice, OD/MD practice in Florida, Bowden Eye Springs, the Mayo Clinic in Arizona, and then finally back at school. And then now I'm here in Bakersfield, California, practicing at a MD/OD practice. It's a rural area, a lot of immigrant population, a lot of disease out here, and excited to be starting work in a pandemic and learning a ton already.
So you're pretty lucky in that sense that you actually got to do all 4 of your clinic rotations during the pandemic. Were a lot of your classmates able to do that, or did some of them actually get sent like back to school or back at home because they weren't able to do that?
Yeah, so it was a really unusual process and kind of depended on the student, depending on the school. For me, I was fortunate to be at our school, so technically nothing necessarily got cut short. For our school, our dean told us whatever you're comfortable with. So if you feel more comfortable coming home and watching online videos, that's your option. Or if you feel comfortable going to clinic, if your clinic is open, that's also an option. I want to say about 90% of the schools pull their students immediately. But since I was at the school already and we weren't seeing many patients, I decided to just stay and just wanted to ensure and make sure I graduated on time. But definitely was thinking every day, hey, should I come? Should I not? But I think there was a great process. So some of the Johnson & Johnson and other companies were doing videos so we could learn. So that was a great, something I enjoyed doing in person.
Were the videos like clinical stuff or it was just like learning?
Promotional.
You got to have a little bit of both, right? So I'm not going to fluff it, but definitely. So they'd go over cases. They'd have different doctors all over the country, whether they be speakers for the companies or we had professors, including some of ours, that would speak about some of their most, complicated cases. So it was a good review. Like I want to say it's like part 2 type material. So it was good. We're obviously not getting the cases because the patients were in clinic or because of COVID. So it was good just to hear it and visually see it.
Okay, well, just to talk a little bit more about Optoturban. So you're pretty much a social media master due to your super entertaining yet educational videos and posts. However, building a social media presence can be daunting to many people, right? So in your opinion, how important is having a social media presence as an optometrist or an OD student? And what kind of opportunities were presented to you due to your social media presence?
Well, thank you for the flattering words. I really appreciate it. I would just say overall, like it's just an extension of networking. And I think there's just so much opportunity with networking, and just Instagram was one platform to start that with. So for me, I was saying, actually, when I came to school, my whole number one goal was to be a non-practicing optometrist. I worked in sales. I met some people in the field, and they used to either work for Optos and sell medical devices, or they would manage optometrists through getting an MBA. And so I found that really attractive. And so my whole 4 years, I kind of focused on how can I be a non-practicing optometrist? How can I get my name out there? And so I felt like this was a great route for me to do that. Things have kind of evolved now for me as a practicing doctor. But I would say it's really helped because I've formed friendships, including the friendships that we have and we're building here right now, through meeting people, through not even physically being in the same room with them. And even when I interview for jobs, it's something that comes up. It's something that we could talk about. It's because of it, like when I mentioned that I've worked with certain doctors or that I've connected with them, when I interviewed for this specific job, they would call the doctors because this eye world is so small, honestly. And so when you start building those friendships, those connections, it's only going to get you farther. And I would say it's helped me. I was able to do a panel at Vision Expo. I was able to get scholarships, able to be funded. And in the future, my goal is still to speak for companies, work alongside companies if they have a product I really believe in and help advertise for them. So that's kind of where it's kind of helped me and where I kind of want to take it.
Nice. That's amazing. I feel like not a lot of people that I've met had the goal of becoming a non-practicing OD right away. I feel like a lot of the people that we've met who are non-practicing ODs kind of randomly fell into that area, when opportunities presented later on in their career. So that's very rare. That's pretty cool.
It definitely, it was unique, and people used to look at me like I was crazy. And even now I'm going backwards. So now I'm actually practicing, and maybe I'll just stay practicing, even though I came in saying I might do non-practicing. So I think it's good to just keep your mind open. Like, I mean, just seeing everybody, like there's so many avenues in optometry. You want to go low vision, you want to do specialty contact lenses, you want to work with MDs, like there's just so much out there, including non-practicing, academia, all this. So I think just keeping an open mind to what opportunities present to you and just go with it.
Yeah. I wanted to add one quick question to, you starting your social media and how it's brought you here. What was the first moment that convinced you to start, an optometric social media presence?
I think one thing just like internally that really drives me is having a community around me. And like when I have people that encourage me and I have this big community, whether it be in the optometry community or even personally with friends and family, that's something that really pushes me. And so I thought I would try it, just put some funny posts out there, and it just kind of built, and I built these friendships. And then that's where everybody just becomes so encouraging online. And it just fueled me more and more like, hey, like, wow, I really enjoy this. I want to put more content out there because everybody's so positive about it. And it makes me excited when I'm going to go to a conference and see all my friends, all our colleagues. It makes me excited when our professors are encouraging us because not only are you like going to clinic with a different spirit, like just every day just seems completely different. Because for me, it kind of, it made me more excited when I'm seeing a patient. Hey, maybe I could share this case online. So I guess for me, it made me more enthusiastic about optometry when, even in the dark times of school where it's kind of tough to see that. And to be able to share and build a community, that's really important for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So as a fourth year student, how did the COVID pandemic alter your job search and or job opportunities?
Yeah, so it for sure did alter some of the opportunities I was looking at. So I knew for me, if I wanted to maybe speak for a company one day, I should get the hardest cases I can get. I didn't want to do a residency yet. For me right now, I wanted to make the high salary I could, yet still get experience. And I was interviewing with a couple other ODMD practices, and then right when COVID hit, I just got ghosted, try to slide in the DM, try to message them, try to email them, try to come there, knock on their door. It didn't work. And that's where I reached out to every connection I had, whether it be online, LinkedIn, everywhere. And then eventually I met this doctor in Colorado at the AOSA conference in 2018. And he was always telling me, hey, come to Bakersfield, California. There's a huge Punjabi community out there. And in my head, I was like, for those of you who don't know about Bakersfield, it's kind of 2 hours north of LA. It's kind of rural, really hot. And in my head, I was like, I don't know. And then I ended up messaging him, and he said, hey, we have an opening at our office. And it kind of was like dating. Like, I was like, I don't know if I want to go on this date, but let's run it. Let's have some coffee, maybe we'll flirt a little. And so went on the first interview, and it was good. I was like, okay, still I'm not sure if I'm that interested. Let's just go on a second date. So after 4 interviews, I fell for her. I fell for the job. And I think it's because I was willing to like move there, take on hard cases, kind of be groomed in the environment that they wanted me to. And they also like threw out opportunities where they knew I wanted to be working with companies. And so they showed me different avenues where they can help me do that by coming to Bakersfield. And so that's why I felt it's like kind of like dating. And I had to change some of the, I didn't ever think I would go to a rural area, but, with the pandemic, you kind of have to maybe relax some of your standards in that sense.
As you said, it's a big Punjabi community, and I saw one of your posts that you took a Punjabi, like a learning course. It was like a 6 week or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
How did that work for you? Is that helping you right now?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I knew I was coming to an area which was about 20% Punjabi, and just being on rotations, I know how important communication is. I feel like I was successful when I was on rotations because I was able to use my personality and bond with my patients on a personal level. And I was like, if that's my strength, if I can't even speak the language with my patients, how am I going to be successful? So on a personal level too, I always wanted to kind of learn how to read, write, fully speak, and be comfortable. Yeah. And I knew, especially with the older community, I always felt really uncomfortable. And so I was able to find this opportunity where I took like an 8-week online Punjabi course. And this was really good for me because every time we had like a speaking presentation or something writing, I would tailor it to eyes. And so I would do like online oral presentations, how to do an eye exam, talk about like diabetes. And it's really paying off now. Like some of these patients are like, "Tusi mera putro," and like they're calling me like son. And like I'm like, holy crap! Just because I can speak your language, like all of a sudden I'm your son. And
it's a big deal to them.
Right.
That communication,
so like that comfort's huge. Right. Have you had all similar experiences like that?
Well, one of the clinics I work to, it is more heavily Punjabi based. Sometimes I hesitate speaking in Punjabi first because then their case history just takes another route. But then if I do see that they're struggling, then definitely like I'm pretty fluent in Punjabi Hindi. So then I try to like converse in that. And they're very grateful, like very, very grateful. And, and then it just makes a more relaxed environment.
Right.
Yeah. I am definitely a disappointment to the Punjabi community. I understand it completely, but I think I'm embarrassed when I speak it, so I just shut down and I don't say a single word in Punjabi. But I know when I saw your post about that 8-week course you took, I kind of thought about it too. And to be honest, it really motivated me. At the age of 26, my parents have told me for 26 years, you got to learn it. And you were the one who convinced me I gotta learn it.
And she lives in Brampton, which is 90% of Punjabis.
But I'm not working there because of that, because I don't speak their language. So I'd probably be underserving them, by not giving them that communication. Yeah.
Well, I think the first step is putting effort. So, I mean, you got the right mindset and going for it and putting that effort. Like even I make mistakes, but like they show like the patients when they know you're trying, like there's so much kindness, like they'll appreciate what you're doing. And I have like 70% Hispanic population also. And so I didn't realize that I didn't practice my Spanish, but like I'm trying to like, my goal is to learn like one word a week or like something that will help me in the exam room. So like I walk in one day, I'm like, buenos dias. And they're like, no, like it's buenos tardes because it's afternoon. So now in the afternoon, I'll walk in and say buenos tardes. And then they'll smile at me like, hey, like, okay, something, like. So I think it's just making an effort, shooting your shot, and just keep building on it. If you can learn like one Punjabi thing that can help you in an eye exam every week, like imagine how far you'll get in like 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
We have a Russian community like in Alaska, and so we'll get Russian patients. Well, I try to speak Spanish to them sometimes, like mentally, like Spanish words, and I don't know Russian and I don't speak Spanish that well. But we have our biller's actually Russian, and so she translates for us. But I tell her every time, like, I almost said, some Spanish words.
Because it's already hard learning one language. Now you got to learn two.
Yeah.
English, I'm not even that good at. So 3 languages.
Which I really should have just learned Russian because that's the community that we have up here rather than Spanish. But
So Jasdeep, you kind of talked about this a little bit before, but as you said, you made a big move to a rural area for your first job. So what factors were you taking into consideration when deciding to move there, and why did you choose that specific rural area?
So the rural area kind of plays into the part of the job I took because I wanted the hardest patient cases I can get. So in the clinic I'm at, it's a nonprofit clinic. They take a lot of like the Medi-Cal or like Kern Family, which is like the local one run through like the federal government for like low income patients. And so because of that, it's there's a lot of like unchecked diabetes, like a lot of PDR, a lot of glaucoma, a lot of amblyopia, a lot of BV, more so than I thought I would see. So like there's just a whole lot of patients that aren't underserved, and the surgeons from my office actually work at Empire, which is their bigger private practice. And so they have a huge network there, and there's always like disease and medical walking through the door. So when I was interviewing, I asked like how much percent of patients will I see medically wise? And I was getting over 50% commonly in my responses. And so that was something that attracted me, because I knew from the doctors that gave me advice, like, hey, like, you're the smartest you're the smartest right now that you'll ever be. And for a second I was like, wait, are you serious? Like right now? I do not feel like that right now. But they're like, no, like imagine you just took your boards, you're fresh, like the information may like go through your head like less and less every year. And so that was like, I'll just take it the use it or you lose it attitude right now, and go to an area where there are patients who are underserved. The other day, like I think I had a patient who got hit with a lasso 13 years ago, Spanish speaking, wants me to explain why he can't see for his right eye for 13 years. And I can't even see his retina, completely foggy. Obviously with the mask and holding a 90, it's getting foggy already. Yeah. I can't even see his retina because I don't even know what's going on with the lens. Like I think it's like trying to cataract. Like there's a lot of situations where I feel like I'm sweating and out of my comfort zone. But that's where, unfortunately, we have a great team here. Yeah, like our MDs, they're like always like willing. Like I can step out of the room and just call them, whether it be post-op or not. So that's why I wanted to go to rural area to get those like harder cases.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially just having like a multi-group practice is always nice, because you can just knock on someone's door when you have a quick question. Like I know I work alone some of the days that I'm working, so I'll have to text other people, our network, and ask these questions. But if you need a response right then and right there when your patient's in the chair, that would be even better. I think that's a big advantage of a multi-group practice for sure.
Exactly. Does anybody else work in like a multi-group practice?
Yeah. So I work at a clinic kind of that's next to LensCrafter. So that's one of my job. And then, we always have 2 doctors. And I absolutely love it, because then we get to always discuss cases, and I get to show them like, hey, what do you think I should do? And I like learning from other people's experience and what they have to say and like how they would handle a case. I mean, we're still new grads too. We've only been out in the field a year, and there's a lot of stuff that we're still very hesitant about. We're like, I don't know, should I send this out to a specialist? Should I send this out to a retina? Like, or like even knowing which specialist to send out to, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're just like, I don't know what MD takes, what type of cases, right? Yeah. So you get to learn a lot from them.
I'll even say, well, let me go discuss this with my dad, which I know like it, but he's my person I practice with. So and they all know that we practice together. So I'm like, let me just go discuss this real quick.
I have a good feeling your mom probably gets very annoyed when you guys discuss cases like at the dinner table. She's probably like, can we please not talk about diabetes anymore?
First it was basketball, now it's eyeballs and basketball. So.
Yeah. So Jasdeep, you're a new grad optometrist working full-time in a new city. How are you adjusting to the new job, and how does it compare to clinical rotations during school, in your opinion?
So I was fortunate that the office is really well organized. And so for my first couple of weeks, because I had basically stopped seeing patients in March and then started in end of August, September. So that was quite a good amount of time. But I was fortunate. I was able to shadow for my first couple of weeks, kind of get my feet wet, shadow the MD, shadow the ODs. They would quiz me all the time, tell me things I need to work on. So that kind of helped me feel a little bit more comfortable. And then from there, I started seeing about like 12 to 16 patients a day. And that's kind of the pace I'm at right now. So it's like every half an hour I'll have a patient. And right now it's mostly like refractions, things along those lines. But it seems like there's always a patient at the end of the day who walks in with something crazy or something unusual, and then I'm stuck there. But like I said, I'm fortunate to have a great team, and things that I do want to work on. Like they have me shadowing like around 7 a.m. every Friday for post-ops, and so that's been really good. When I'll shadow the MD for post-ops, and then actually 3 or 4 weeks ago, one of our doctors got sick, so I was just thrown in there to see the post-ops. But because I had that shadowing experiences, because they were letting me watch and kind of come a little slower, I felt pretty comfortable. So. It's been pretty good so far. And I know one of our doctors is leaving. And so I think around December time, I'll be kind of thrown in there with all the medical cases since he'll be leaving. And so I'm starting to meet all the patients, and they're starting to see me and know that I'll be there full time. So it's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is good that you're just like slowly going in and then you're not just thrown right in, where some people are. So
Yeah.
You feel like super nervous going into work every day, or are you kind of like more calm? Because if I were you, I'd be like, oh man, sweating bullets, like oh
Yeah.
There was a lot of sweating. There was a lot of nervousness. I was like, am I gonna lose my job if this happens? Or like, all the toxic thoughts come in your head. But that's where like I know I need them, they know they need me, and anytime I see something I'm not comfortable with, I'm willing to just kind of ask around or step outside for a second or text my friends like you ladies were saying, or even going to Will's Eye. That's like the Bible, right? So I think just taking a deep breath and maybe like taking my time. Like even the other day, actually it was yesterday, on Friday, I had trouble doing gonio with Formir, and it was pretty uncomfortable. Like they had small angles, and so like the doctor previously noted you should do gonio, check the angles. And I was kind of uncomfortable doing it. I had a doctor come in and also do it and kind of help me through it. But now, my doctors are saying, hey, you know what? On normal patients, just do gonio on everybody. You have the time right now. So just working on those little details to get to that next level.
I feel like if I started doing gonio on all my patients, none of my patients would come back.
They wouldn't come back. Yeah, exactly.
They're like, I'm not seeing that doctor ever again.
They'd be like, none of my other doctors did this.
That's why I love when my patients are like, oh, you were so thorough. Like you did so many things. And low-key, it's like, I was just super slow. But yeah, of course. Like, I'm going to be so thorough for you, just for you, Yeah.
One more thing about your new job, how has COVID changed your expectations of what your first job would have been like?
I would say the pace, just like the little details, like having to clean the room, make sure rooms are available because we want to make sure everything's sanitized. Or it took me like a week to get used to like doing 90 undilated with the mask, or like how to deal with the fog. At some point, I was like taping my mask because everything was foggy, but then I was getting marks on my face, and so I would say more like the little things like that. Because like they're kind of starting me off slow. It kind of is like rotations. Usually it's easier when you're on rotations, like mommy, I need help. Like any little question. And now it's like, you got to be a big boy. You got to do it on your own. But I think it's been okay so far, and we'll see how it goes. And like I said, I think being able to consult their doctors like right away, I think that's what makes me feel so comfortable. Like I don't think I go anymore to work and like stress out. Like if I don't know something, like just take a deep breath and work it out. Like I have some of the retinal surgeons numbers too, and they're all willing to like talk to me anytime too. So that's been really good.
Now that you've transitioned from student to doctor, do you think the content created by Optoturban will transition as well?
Yes. And I think that's something I've been reflecting the last 6 or 7 weeks. I've kind of just decreased what I've been putting out there, made some TikToks just to have some fun. But that's where I'm kind of evaluating what is important to me. What are my goals in the future? Like I was kind of saying, I think with social media, like at some point I became kind of dependent on like what other people thought, how many likes I was getting, who's following me, instead of just like appreciating the kind of the content I was doing. And so that's why I'm reevaluating what I'm doing, how I want to go about it. Like, because I'm so driven with the people who are around me, not being able to see the people in the optometry community is kind of like made me feel a little slower too. And so that's where I'm just trying to like, do I want to continue doing a podcast? Do I want to make YouTube videos? Do I want to just maybe share a case of the week every week? Do I maybe just want to just have it there, and anytime I want to post like a fun photo of what I'm wearing on Friday for Halloween, And so that's where I'm just kind of reevaluating. I think there's a lot of great podcasts out there, like your ladies. So like I think that space is being filled, and I think that's great. And there's a lot of good content. And I just think for me personally, I'm just taking time to reevaluate what's important to me. And so it definitely will change. I don't think I'm going to continue what I was doing, and any suggestions, I'm open to it.
You're considered one of the OG optometrists and optometry students on social media. So it's a good time to retire now, take a break, just kind of simmer in everything that you've gained, and just look back, watch the youngins like us make it all the way up there now.
You're flying up. You're gonna pass me. Like, yeah. I mean, podcast wise, it's amazing. Like, I love listening to your guys's, because obviously you have a relationship already, and so like when you're joking about wine nights or making jokes with each other, like you could see that chemistry there. But also like the technical content, like because I was actually nervous for work, and I knew I was working with MDs with post-op, I kind of listened to your post-op episode like 2 or 3 times when I was in the car. So I think it's cool, like to have like that technical knowledge, but also like the chemistry that you ladies have.
Well, we're hoping that you still post content, because we love watching your TikTok videos for sure. Those are the best ones that we've seen out there. So yeah, hopefully we do see more of you. I was joking about retiring. Please don't do that yet.
No, it's more like a hiatus, like just a reflection period, right? And I think it's more so not even just with social media, just like overall life and like see where I want to go and grow as a human being. I think like I want to create new goals. Like one thing I want to do, I decided this weekend I want to get a barbecue, learn how to barbecue different things. See where I want to go financially, like how am I going to pay off loans? Like I think it's time to just not just think when you're in school, it was just like optometry, like, and now it's like there's so much out there. And so I'm trying to just see where I can grow as a human, like just outside of even the eye world.
It's very
so
true.
Expanding a little bit further into that, like talking about social media, your podcast, where do you want your brand to take your career in the future? Or in other words, what impact do you want Optoturban to have on your career within the optometry profession?
I would say I want it to be something, yes, that I make an impact in the optometry community where if there's like a product I believe in, that I can share news about it and make sure that other students, other professionals hear about it. But also I think I want to expand more outside the optometry community too, and just kind of be, yes, I happen to be a doctor, but I also have experiences, whether it be talking about religion or talking about just personal struggles. So I want to relate to both of those sides and maybe be a little bit more general with my content. I think it is important. Obviously, we're all in the eye field, and so there's things that we can connect on. And I love that. That's about that friendship for both our groups. But I think I kind of want to shift it more to even non-personal things. Just like, hey, like with school, like for example, there was I was always like focusing on health. Like I think that's kind of what I want to do right now, and that's something I want to post about too. But that has nothing to do with just the eye community, you know. So just talking about more general topics that kind of affect people more so.
Okay. Yeah, that would be really exciting. And then, our last question is, aside from your brand, what are some things you're looking forward to as you get your optometric career started?
So things that I'm focused on right now, paying off loans, learning how to barbecue, fitness. I've been tracking all my calories and going crazy with that. So it's nice to be able to go to the gym. I started that this week. Spending more time with family. So I'm only 2 hours away from Southern California. And so 50% of my weekends I've been driving home, and that's something that I want to continue doing. It's on my sheet. Learning how to cook more. I think there's more things I can kind of expand into. So my friends used to come over. I used to make some tandoori chicken for them, but the other day I tried putting it on pizza. So I made tandoori chicken pizza. So like just taking that next level of being like a chef. Yeah. And then also like thinking, hey, where do I want to take obviously the optometry career? Maybe it is, like I said, just maybe working in a practice and being a speaker, or maybe it is running a practice. Maybe it's going in corporate. Maybe it's, who knows, maybe it's starting a marketing company that helps other practices with how to advertise their marketing for their practices. Or one idea I did have was maybe even starting a platform for languages, because I know about like 20-30 people actually messaged me when they heard about how I learned Punjabi. And I think there's a huge need for us to, as practitioners, to speak to our patients, and not just with Punjabi, with Spanish, every language. So those are some ideas I'm having. Maybe there'll be one overall platform to kind of help people with that.
That is amazing. Many doors are open for you. Definitely. Thank you so much, Jasdeep, for coming on. We had an amazing time talking with you. We're so happy that we finally got a chance to meet you in person, talk to you, get to know you more on a personal level, and not just tagging each other in stories all the time. But yeah, we wish you all the best of luck in your career, your social media presence, your life, and congratulations on getting your new job and becoming an optometrist.
Yeah.
We should have had some confetti here. We didn't bring any.
I appreciate all the comments, and it was an honor to be here. And I'm so excited to see where this podcast goes. And, it's going to be big. So keep it up.
Thank you to everyone for listening to Four Eyes. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating to give us feedback on how we're doing. You can also check us out on Instagram at 4eyesoptom for more content. Look out for new episodes every Wednesday. So until then, stay tuned.